The real importance of this is that falls are one of the most common complaints that all physicians see. A fall can be absolutely disastrous, which could result in one or more fractures. In the case, for example, of hip fractures, of which there are 400,000 hip fractures in this country each year, many of those patients who are over the age of 70 who sustain a hip fracture have less than a year survival time. When I was quite young, I had a very good friend whose father was a neurologist, actually in Memphis, Tennessee, where I grew up. As it turned out, this gentleman, whose name was Coyle Shea, was a very early mentor for me and used to allow me to go to surgery with him and actually sit at the operating table where I would watch him perform ear surgery. At the time, I didn't actually know what I was looking at, but that looked like the neatest thing I'd ever seen, and so I decided very early on that's what I wanted to do. With 78 million baby boomers, we'll never run out of dizzy patients. Actually, as a result of a catastrophic illness in my life, which resulted in a bilateral below-the-knee amputation for me, I spent a year of my life learning how to walk all over again. I am the recipient of what is termed vestibular rehabilitation therapy, or balance retraining, in order to reach the point where I could ambulate without any assistive device. So with some rather sophisticated prosthetics, I was able to accomplish that goal, and I believe I can speak authoritatively to the problem of dizziness. It is now possible to institute some very meaningful and efficacious therapy, which up until about 10 years ago was not available. While we could make a diagnosis of the etiology or cause of dizziness, it was a matter of not being able to do anything about it. Well, now, fortunately, all that has changed. I have co-authored 2 books on vestibular rehabilitation therapy, and the good news is, since it is not traditional physical therapy, we can teach this to both physical therapists and occupational therapists, as well as to physicians and other healthcare professionals. I believe the most rewarding aspects, especially pertaining to balance and movement disorders, is to be able to restore at least a significant measure of function for these patients and actually help them to not become victims to falling episodes. These patients typically have gone to one or another doctors, and actually in many cases multiple doctors, spent a fortune on the workup of their dizziness or balance problems, and no diagnosis was reached. So now it becomes possible to make an accurate diagnosis and then institute the appropriate therapy. I value my relationship with my wife of 33 years, my one and only wife. We've survived 4 years of medical school, then 5 years of residency, 2 years of fellowship, and now 2 grown children. So I would say I found my soulmate. I must tell you, I have 2 wonderful children, a boy and a girl. And my son is going to be starting medical school. So we'll have a second generation of McKenzie healthcare professionals.
To learn more about hands-on seminars, please visit www.handsonseminars.com or call 888-767-5003. Hands-on Seminars, the leader in physical therapy continuing education.